What's up, sports bettors? Yesterday we came so close to cashing another 6-pick entry, so our last player prop we needed to hit was Tarasenko under 2.5 shots on goal. He got to 3, so we still got the 2x payout for a few of these flex plays, but obviously it would have been nice for him to stay under and have 2 and get the big cash. But regardless, a bunch more picks for today, so let's just go ahead, let's get into it. So my first play is from the sportsbook screen, so sportsbook screen, and I say this all the time, but when you're using this tool, what you want to look for is value. All of these sports books, PrizePicks, Underdog, DraftKings, they all set lines independently. Every sports book tries to set odds on their own. So what you're going to notice is for LeBron in the Warriors-Lakers game, all the books have his points plus assists, that's the market we're looking at on the screen, at 32.5. Right? There's no discrepancy in where sports books are setting the line. All the books have him at 32.5. There's no value. But if you look at Clay, PrizePicks has his line at 24.5 points plus assists. You look at every other sportsbook, every other data point, they have him at 25.5, right? So PrizePicks is too low relative to the market. PrizePicks is at 24.5. Every other data point, I mean, we literally have dozens of other data points, Underdog Fantasy, Bet365, Parlay Play, Caesars, all these different sportsbooks telling us, no, Clay's line should be higher at 25.5. So PrizePicks is 1 point below the market, so we want to take the over. Right? So when you're using this tool, you're looking for discrepancies in where sportsbooks are setting the line, right? So here for Looney, all the books have his line at 10.5. There's no value in the market. For Clay, PrizePicks is a clear discrepancy below the market, so we want to take the over, right? So that's the first player prop that I ended up going with for today. And I say this all the time, but let's just kind of go through it quickly, is what's really interesting about PrizePicks, right, is it doesn't matter what 5 picks you select. This is always going to be your payout in your flex play. Doesn't matter if I switch this to an over. 5 out of 5 correct, you're getting a 10x payout. 4 for 5, 2x. 3 for 5, 0.4x, right? If I switch this to Alvarez, same payout. Doesn't matter if I take an over or an under, right? So PrizePicks is a fixed payout platform, right? So long story short, to beat PrizePicks, if you just kind of take the payouts for a 5 flex and back out what percentage of your picks you need to win to be profitable, it's 54.25%. So what this means is if you're able to hit your player props, so if you can win player props just like this one, if you can select your over-unders correctly, over 54.25% of the time, you're going to be profitable on PrizePicks. Right? It's really that simple. If you can get these over-unders correctly, it doesn't matter if you're betting on, the NHL, MLB, tennis, whatever. If you can get these over-unders correctly, over 54.25% of the time, you're going to be profitable. So the tool I typically start out looking at is the positive EV tool on OddsJam. And what this tool does is it just reads in all of these lines from PrizePicks, right? NHL shot on goal, MLB strikeouts. It's reading in all these lines, and all it shows you is player props that are winning over 54.25% of the time, and it does that looking at sportsbook odds, right? So in the Guardians-Yankees game, first inning total runs, the Nerfy no runs first inning under half of a total run is heavily favored on all these sportsbooks, right? So if you look right here, the under half of a first inning total run, right here on PrizePicks, this under is heavily favored on all the sports books. FanDuel has it minus 156, Caesars minus 140, DraftKings minus 140. So essentially, these are all data points telling us, hey, the under is really heavily favored. We know on PrizePicks, they're not changing our payout, right? If you create a 2-pick entry, doesn't matter if we take both unders, 3x payout. If we take both overs, 3x payout. PrizePicks is a fixed payout platform. Doesn't matter if I switch this to a different pick, 3x payout. PrizePicks is a fixed payout platform. So essentially, you want to look for spots. The strategy for beating them is you want to look for spots where sportsbooks have one side, either the under or the over, heavily favored, right? So we know we just got to win 54.25% of our player props on PrizePicks to be profitable. And here in the Guardians-Yankees game, all the sportsbooks have the under, the Nerfy, the no runs first inning, heavily favored. FanDuel has the Nerfy, no runs first inning, under half of a first inning total run at minus 156. WinBet, Caesars have this at minus 140, DraftKings minus 140. All the books are data points, right? They're all telling you the same thing. The Nerfy is a lot more likely than the yes run first inning. This game's a lot likely to have 0 runs in the first inning as opposed to more than 1 run, right? So long story short, you can use this tool to kind of find value on PrizePicks. So you can see here for Tanner Bibby, all the sportsbooks have his over 4.5 strikeouts heavily favored. This is in the same game, Guardians-Yankees. So just another pick you can go with. All the sportsbooks, right? Pinnacle, sharpest sportsbook in the world. They have his over at minus 153. His over is a minus 153 favorite. So all these sportsbooks are data points telling you, hey, Tanner Bibby is a lot more likely to go over as opposed to under. So long story short, second player prop I included in my entry was Guardians-Yankees game, Nerfy. So the final tool I use is right here. It's called the fantasy screen. And basically what this tool does is it's very similar to the EV tool. You're going to see overlap. So you can see here Guardians-Yankees under first inning total runs. There's some overlap with the positive EV tool. But all this does, right, is it goes to PrizePicks. It goes to all the sports books, reads in lines, and just kind of shows you the player props that have the highest chance of winning, the highest probability of hitting. And it's all based on sportsbook odds, right? There's no BS. There's no magic going on here. All the sportsbooks have, the Guardians-Yankees game, the under heavily favored around, minus 140, minus 145 odds. So this is a great player prop to go with on PrizePicks because the under has a lot higher likelihood than the over of hitting. That's why the sportsbooks have the under heavily juiced, heavily favored. Right? So OddsJam is just scanning all of these lines and trying to point out those spots where sportsbooks have the most juice towards either the under or the over. So in this case, in the Guardians-Yankees game, it's the under that's heavily favored. Right? So just following the data. My second pick is a baseball pick. Then you can see Patrick Sandoval under 5.5 strikeouts. All the sportsbooks have his under heavily favored. So this player prop, according to sportsbook odds, is winning 54.68% of the time. That's over 54.25% of the time. So it's going to be profitable. Ryan Noda to get on base. All the sportsbooks have his over half of a base, him to get on base as the heavily favored outcome. Connor Capel, all the books have his over, him to get on base as the heavily favored outcome. So these are all player props that you want to go with on PrizePicks, right? So if you think about it, if this is confusing at all, right? If a team is minus 200, so if we just open up this Novig odds calculator, if a team is minus 200, because some people will ask like, oh, why? Because in the Guardians-Yankees game, why does it matter that this line's all the way up at minus 145-ish? And what you got to remember is sportsbooks, right? They tell you win probabilities through their odds. If a team is minus 200 to win, they're a 2-1 favorite. They're 2/3 to win the game, 66.67% to win the game. That's what minus 200 means, 2-1 favorite. Plus 200 is a 2-1 underdog, 1/3 to win the game, 33.33% to win this game. So let's say, if the Nerfy here is roughly minus 145 or maybe closer to minus 140, what the sportsbooks are telling you is, hey, the Nerfy, the under, is 58% to hit, and the over is 42% to hit. So the under is the more favored outcome. The under is the more likely outcome. And that's what the data, the market, the sportsbooks are telling you through their odds, right? So you can see all these plays here. All the plays in green are going to be profitable on PrizePicks because they're winning over 54.25% of the time. Sometimes there's more value in baseball. You can see there's a couple NBA plays. But long story short, you don't want to take these picks in red, because again, you have to win 54.25% of your picks, right, to be profitable. Now, if something's, let's say, a minus, 115 favorite, if something's a minus 115 favorite, it's still favored, right? But it's only 53.49%. So that's not high enough to be profitable on PrizePicks, right? If you're hitting only 53.49% of your picks on PrizePicks, playing 5 flexes, your ROI is still going to be negative 5%. You need that number above 54.25%. So a very slight favorite doesn't do you much good, right? I mean, sure, in this case, the minus 115, it's telling you, hey, this is the favored outcome, right? If a team is minus 115, they're a very slight favorite, but they're not a 54.25% favorite. You want to see teams that are, more like minus 130. If a team's minus 130, they're 56.52% to win, or a player prop. So long story short, some of these that are only juiced to minus 125-ish, these aren't going to be profitable. These are lower than 54.25% win rate. So you just want to take these picks in green where sportsbooks have a lot more juice towards one side. In this case, it's the under, right? It's just kind of like if a team's minus 200, right? They're a 2-1 favorite, 66.67% to win. If a team's a minus 300 favorite, they're 3-1 to win, 75% to win the game. A 3/4 favorite, right? They're winning 3 out of 4 games if they're minus 300 odds, just kind of like the Sixers last night. Just kind of like, the Celtics last night. But long story short, here's my entry. Noda to get on base, Capel to get on base, 2 players for the Athletics. You can see them right here from the fantasy screen, just following the data. Sandoval, under 5.5 Ks. All these plays you can see on the fantasy screen that we went through. So 5 picks, 125 to win, 1250. Let's get after it.